And I think if there's anything to be said about this particular eclipse, it's like if you go with the crowd, you may not get what you think you're going to get. And, really tapping into what your body or your intuition or your inner knowing is saying can really kind of save the day. And that's the overarching energy for this eclipse. Hi, I hope you're doing well. I'm back again to talk about the new moon solar eclipse. It's going to be happening on April 8th, 2024, and it's going to be happening at 19 degrees Aries. Now, for North America and that area, there are places where it's going to be very impactful, as in that that area is going to be in the line of the solar eclipse. So that might be the place where we see the most global impacts. But having said that, we all can feed into this energy. And the one thing that I think is the overarching theme, if you want to get the whole eclipse in a nutshell, is this concept of waging a war between logic and individuality. And individuality in this case is going to be the gate 57, and really talking about your intuition, what you see without really having a good reason to see it. In other words, there is no logical explanation for certain feelings or intuitions or insights that you have. Your inner knowing comes at its own bidding. A lot of times, out of nowhere, you'll have an epiphany or a download or something will show up. And this is really the energy we're talking about when we're talking about this eclipse. The other perspective is we have logical energy. So we have Saturn, Mars, and also Venus in logical energy. Venus is going to be in the gate 17, and Saturn and Mars are in the gate 63, but in different lines. So really a lot of kind of pushback on the individuality. Now, individuality, there is more of it within this solar eclipse. But having said that, individuality is usually the type of energy that we sort of go on our own. We don't really want to try and explain ourselves, whereas logic is very, very much more vocal. Now, you look at the energy of this particular solar eclipse, the logical energy, we see Saturn in the gate 63 line 4, which is in detriment. So what Saturn is saying here is that there's no need to dig any deeper for answers. There's no need to look any further because we kind of have it all figured out already, which is absolutely not correct. We know that there's always something new to figure out, and the predictability of the logical circuit or logical energy can easily be destroyed in 1 second. And when that happens, then it's like you're in chaos, and that is sort of the fear, which would be the gate 4, which is the harmonic for the gate 63. And the fear is that we go into chaos. And so we go to the gate 63, which says, what's the answer? Tell me what I need to know. And all is good. The problem with the gate 63 is that this is literally just fuel. There's no clarity. There's no awareness within this energy. It is only fuel. And what it is fueling is to come up with an answer that we can use to eliminate chaos, to eliminate issues with the pattern. So if you can imagine, we have the energy of the gate 17, Venus in the gate 17, which is also in detriment. And this is really about having an opinion about everything. The gate 17 can be about opinions, of course, but this is where it's like very pervasive in that there's an opinion about just about everything. So, you're walking down the street and someone tells you that they don't like your coat or they do like your coat or whatever. This is like out of the blue, people giving their opinions about something that you literally haven't asked for, and really believing that it's true, because you also have this logical push to kind of get the energy of what is true and what is predictable and how can we logically explain everything. And we know in the world we live in, not everything can be explained logically. That is just that's part of life. There are mystical things that step out of nowhere. And especially during this time, because with the nodes in the gate 51 and the gate 57, it can be a very mystical time. The one thing that is important to look at is if you look at a nodal cycle, the first half of that nodal cycle, whatever it is, if the nodal cycle is about 2 months, then the first half is considered, based on the nodes, the south node would be potentially stronger. And then the second half is where we have the north node potentially being stronger. And this is very much like you would have for your own nodes in your own body graph. So in this case, we're looking at the gate 57, intuition and those types of things being like a stronger force for the first half of the nodal cycle. But now we've moved into the gate 51. Now this is awakening, right? This is half of the channel of initiation. What is it initiating us into? It is initiating us into things that we have never seen before. And really, the gate 51 is the energy of things we have never seen before. Now, this solar eclipse is really, to my point of view, the beginning of the Neptune going into the gate 25 energy. This is kind of like a precursor to that energy of the full channel that's going to happen when Neptune moves into the gate 25. And this is going to bring us a full 25-51 channel right from April 10th until May 10th. So it is an impactful time. And really talking about this idea of brand new things, brand new awakening events that are going to be happening. And with the power of the nodal cycle increasing, sort of boosting the energy of the gate 51, this is really bringing those things to the forefront. Now, of course, this can always be spirituality, especially when we have Neptune coming in the mix, literally just days after the solar eclipse. But having said that, sometimes the biggest spiritual awakenings of our lives are some things that come from a place of being in a place of not feeling in control, or at the very least being shocked into shifting your trajectory. You hear about people having a health scare and then they decide that they're going to do something different in their lives. I'm not saying this will be a health scare, but I'm just saying that's sort of an analogy of how these energies can kind of play out in your life. So on one side, we have the fuel of skepticism, of doubt, of suspicion, of show me the answer, give me the answer so that I know I will be safe in the future. We also have people going around with logical opinions, but these opinions may not be formed properly. They may not have the awareness. The gate 17 is an awareness gate, but it doesn't mean that you immediately get the awareness. This is clarity over time. Overall time is basically what they say. With the ajna, any of the awareness gates of the ajna, it's clarity over all time. In other words, it's always, 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 you're getting another piece, you're getting another piece of the puzzle, you're finding out more, it's getting more clear, and especially with any individual energy. But this is logical energy. So this is like a hypothesis or something you don't really know about, but it's something you think you know. And the truth of opinions is that none are really true until they are proven to be true. And so that's the energy that we have on one side. Bottom line is that we have a lot of individual energy that is connected to being yourself, especially with the gate 51, because that is part of the aura busting energy of individuality, or this is the centering circuit is basically what it's part of. So this is really bringing you into your own identity. And as we move forward into 2027 and the mutation that is that we theorize is going to come in 2027 and the shifts that are potentially going to happen, it is really about learning about your individuality. We are moving away from a community-based society into something that is much different in that it is connected to this idea of being your own best authority. Instead of looking at what the community is saying and what they feel you should do, like a tribal energy, it's about what you feel you should do. Now, that doesn't mean we have to throw the concept of community out completely. What that is saying is instead is that are you going to maintain your individuality and yet still be in a community? So in other words, instead of being assimilated into something, you are maintaining who you are, making your own decisions and discerning about what is correct for you and what isn't. So with all this individual and mutative energy, we're really looking at the concept that right now, listening to your intuition and not really knowing why you think something is a certain way and not being able to logically explain it. And then you have the other perspective of people saying, well, that's not logical. It can't be true. So you should listen to what I have to say. And there will be always people who are going to tell you, I know the answer. You just have to open YouTube and see a lot of podcasts that people say, well, I will tell you the truth. I will tell you, how it really is. And is it true? Well, maybe it is and maybe it isn't. And this is where we have to discern what is true and what isn't, especially with Saturn in the gate 63, as well as Mars. Mars is in the gate 63 is it wants to believe. Oh yeah, that's that, I want to work on this pressure. So imagine Mars being very immature, wanting to rush forward, feeling pressurized to find an answer. And you just kind of go out of the gate at the top speed so that you can get that answer. And what happens is you grab whatever you can. And I mean, this is also looking at the perspective of if you look at the masculine, the yang energy, and Saturn is yang energy as far as I know too, although some people will disagree with that. But having said that, I think that Saturn, because it's of its connection with Capricorn, we have a lot of masculine energy telling us that this is the way it is. And of course, this is going to really increase the level of conspiracy theories. So the question is, are you going to listen to your own inner knowing, or are you going to listen to somebody else's logic or their opinion or their potential solution to the situation? And that's the biggest question that we have here. Now, based on this solar eclipse, the answer should be your own intuition, because that will guide you forward. And as we move into 2027, I mean, the new cross that we're going to be looking at is a cross of penetration, which really is the embodiment of the gate 57, where we are using our own intuition. Now, this intuition is based on your survival. This is keeping you safe. There's a story that I read a long time ago, and it was about these two people, and they were in a car and they were driving away from danger, right? And one person said, we should stop here because this is what the government authorities have told us to do in this kind of a situation. Like, we have to stop here and do this. And the person who was driving ignored what they were saying and said, no, I just need to keep moving. I just need to keep moving. So we have somebody going on their intuition and somebody going on the logic of the governmental forces, and I'm not against the government. I'm just saying for this particular story, this was, this is the safety measures that are in play, and safety measures are very important. And a lot of times they will save you. But in this case, this person said, no, I need to override this. I'm going to move forward. And they continued to move forward. And they were both okay. Had they stopped at that particular, and listened to whatever the structures that were laid out for safety measures, if they had stopped in this particular instance, they both would not have survived. And so this is like tapping into that energy. And I'm not saying that this is going to be about survival, this solar eclipse. In fact, I think it's a great solar eclipse. And I think that we can really have a lot of amazing downloads. And like, from my perspective, this doesn't feel like it's like a very intensely scary type of eclipse. I feel like the energy was a little more rocky for the March 25th one than it is for this one. Having said that, it is based on the choices that you make. If you decide that you're going to step into your own intuition and use your own intuition to make the decisions that are correct for you, then it will be markedly different than if you are listening to people who tell you they have the answers. Now, some people do have the answers, but that is in everyone's own best interest to really check and see and be discerning. Is this correct or is it not? And having said that, it may not be as easy to lean into your intuition as normal. We have the south node in the gate 57 line 1, which is actually called confusion, which means that you don't really know if your intuition is firing on all cylinders, if it really is telling you what it's telling you. This is splenic intuition that comes in a quick pop or a quick hit, tells you once, and it isn't going to repeat the message. So this is really becoming aware of what you are being told. What is that like sudden inspiration that you just kind of, it comes out of nowhere and it tells you something? And this is the kind of energy that we're really looking at. The other perspective is we have the gate 57 line 5, where it says that once again, there might be this need to want to sort of bypass your intuition. And the one thing to keep in mind is that because the gate 57 is part of the integration channels, it's going to connect with a lot more people. And how your intuition works for you, if you have any of the integration channels, any of the integration channel gates, for instance, the gate 10, gate 34, gate 20, and the gate 57, is very specific to you, and each particular channel that it would make, you would have had this connection or this extra channel for all of the nodal cycle. So, really exploring how that works for you is really wonderful. And whatever you found, you can use for this particular solar eclipse, and basically just this idea of learning more about your intuition, especially if you have an open spleen. This is a time during this nodal cycle, really tap into that energy and see how your intuition expresses for you. If you add in that we have a lot of fifth line energy and projection, which means that we don't always know what's true and what isn't true. The saying, I really like this. I looked it up. It said the saying, a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting its shoes on. And this is one of those things that you can keep in your pocket and remember. And if somebody is telling you something and it really sounds good, pull it out and go, is this true? Does this feel true? Because I think that the biggest thing that we usually do is we have this feeling of, yes, this is correct. I know this is correct, or no, this is completely wrong. And a lot of times we'll say, no, this is completely wrong. This is completely wrong, but the logic says it's correct, and the logic says it's okay, and then you make the decision to go with the logic, and it doesn't work out the way you wanted it to. And you think, well, why did I make that decision? Because my gut was telling me it's incorrect. I shouldn't have worked with that person. I shouldn't have gone out on that date. I shouldn't have done that at work or said that to that person or whatever. There was that gut was telling you one thing, but the logic said that's what you should do, and you listen to it. So this is really, tapping into that energy of truly believing in you. And as an aside, with the gate 51 line 5 being accentuated by the sun and the moon, this is really a time of humble heroes or blowhards who are not heroes but tell you that they're the best in the world. And what this kind of energy says is something I like to just talk about. I just want to mention this really quickly because it's nice to be able to look at this and watch it to see if it's actually expressing itself on the global stage. And if people are being called out for being a blowhard who really isn't as much of a hero as they try and tell people they are, and the real humble heroes are being brought to the forefront. This also can look at the perspective of you doing something that is considered heroic, or something that is considered like you did a super good job, and being brought to the forefront because you're quietly just doing your work, and suddenly you're seen for what you actually have been doing. And so this means that we might see people who have been quietly being, unsung heroes coming to the forefront and being recognized for what they have been doing in the background, and being finally seen for the good things they've been doing, and not really wanting that or expecting that, but just being given the recognition for all the things they've been doing because they've been doing it. If you add in Mercury, which is in retrograde, it's in the gate 42 line 5, and I said this is like the thread that connects the eclipse that we had on March 25th, this particular eclipse, and then the next full moon that's going to be coming, I believe, on April 23rd. So they're all connected. And the thread here is basically because Mercury is in retrograde, this is talking about past things that you may have done, past things that you were sort of quietly just toiling along, doing your work, and suddenly people see you for what you're doing. The other perspective is, fully being engaged in that craft that you love, that experience of what you do in your life, and fully, being unaware of what people are doing around you, and that you're just completely in your process, and people seeing you and saying, you're doing a wonderful job, being recognized. But you're being recognized because you're actually doing something that makes you feel good and that you feel inspired to do. And, this is like the bonus that comes. And they say that when you're doing something that truly aligns with you and is part of who you are, eventually the gifts come. And this is when we might see gifts, and it is like past deeds, because we also have Mercury, people talking about, the benefits that you are bringing to the collective, or people talking about, the good things you're doing, and yet you're doing it because it feels good. So it's like a total win-win. And this is also about maximizing benefits and kind of getting the most you can out of certain cycles, and potentially deciding that you're going to give up on a cycle, or you're thinking about deciding about giving up on a cycle, seeing where you can get the most from something you before you let go of it completely, or remembering old cycles and thinking about how you're going to move into a new cycle, because this is really giving a lot of time to think about what endings are necessary in your life and what are you're ready to kind of level up on, and what things are you going to get as much as you can from it, and then kind of finish that cycle as well. Mercury here can be connected to things that were happening during the nodal cycle that we had from August 27th, 2023 till January 8th, 2024. So that could be something that is recurring as well. Overall, this solar eclipse is it's a new beginning, right? And we also have, within every new beginning, we have an ending of a cycle. And that's where Mercury is basically saying, do you have some things that you need to kind of clean up before you move on to your next cycle, and how you want to do that. The other perspective is it is an opportunity for us to really tap into what it means to be an individual, what it means to be, yourself. And, as we move forward, this is one of those key ingredients that's going to show you the difference between those people who cling on to the idea of trying to be that person or something that they're truly not inside, and the people who just are allowed to be themselves. And when that happens, it's going to really show that the world is searching for authenticity. And if you're willing to give it, willing to step into your authenticity, then this is the time to tap into not only your authenticity, but also tap into your intuition, because it's going to lead you to the best decisions for you, as opposed to following the crowd and, again, not necessarily getting what you think you're going to get. So with that said, I hope you have a really peaceful solar eclipse. And until next time, take care and bye for now.